VAIL is one of the biggest shooters in VR. It's been around for years and recently added a whole lot of the game for free to play. This is a game that's been in development for many years now. They claim to have the best in-class mechanics with precisely tuned interactions, and now completely free you can get into the Citadel and try different game modes, although if you do want to buy the VAIL Combat DLC, that will unlock the rest of the game and that part is not free. This game has not been without its controversy over the years, but now nearly 6,000 ratings gives it a 4.8 star rating. People saying that it is the best competitive VR shooter out there, that it's 5 out of 5 stars, and that it's the best thing in VR so far. But people in the lower reviews saying they were glad they added the free mode so they could try it and find out it wasn't for them. People mentioning how it'll take up 11 gigs of space though, even if you download it free, without unlocking all of the rest of that you'd have to pay for. And people complaining, of course, that they purchased it before it became free, and then it still tried to ask them for the additional to open up the rest of the game after they'd played. The developers are very active though. They're responding to these even as recently as 2 days ago to all of the low reviews. But at least now, if you've been curious about VAIL all this time, you can get in and try some of it free and see what you think before you make a decision. Clawball has launched, and if you fantasized about being a cat in VR and playing a game similar to Rocket League, this game probably fits the bill. Completely free to try in early access, over 500 ratings now, giving this thing a 4.7 star rating. Very few low reviews, and the ones that are people saying they had an issue with getting back into it, the developers are responding, letting them know exactly what they need to do to get the game working. But with other people saying it's an amazing fun with cats, it's perfect, best game out currently. And of course the game does rely on cosmetics, that's why they're talking about looking stylish. But if you haven't tried it, it's completely free, and there'll be a link to all these games down in the description and comments below. On the Quest, one of the biggest games of all time is Job Simulator, and from these same developers comes Dimensional Double Shift, which you can play free right now on Quest. This game really feels like a 4-player cooperative version of Job Simulator, although it does use hand tracking, which we all know at times can be buggy. But it uses puzzles where multiple of you may be working on a car, but one of you needs a piece that only someone else can craft, and you have to work together to get this done. And it hasn't been out for long, but has already racked up over 500 ratings, giving it a bit more of a rough 4.0 star rating. People saying they love this game, people giving suggestions in the comments of what else it needs, but a lot of people in the low reviews complaining about how it's only hand tracking, people bringing up early access and how they can't even get it to load, and people really complaining about how you have to have players to play with, and it's a multiplayer only game, even though Alchemy Labs' other games like Vacation and Job Simulator were both playable by a single person. I'll say personally, I got to try this with a group of content creators back at Gamescom, and it is really fun when you're in with friends, but of course hand tracking does pose an issue. I would love a controller mode and a single player. Oktoberfest in real life is free for you to walk on the grounds and check it out, and this game also is free. The developers actually partnered up with Munich to make this the official game of Oktoberfest, and it's a VR version that is crafted around all of the real life things you can find at Oktoberfest, from rides to games to drinking lots of beer. It's a hangout party game where you hang out with friends and do all kinds of different stuff, and nearly 200 people have given this thing a 4.6 star rating, almost all positive reviews. People saying this is a Hall of Famer, it's a different kind of game, but there's something for everyone, it's an absolute blast. And only one written review at a 1 or 2 star. One person saying you should go get a beer in real life instead, but pretty much everyone giving this thing praises, whether 3, 4, or 5 stars. Free sports style games make it high up on lists when it's free to play and what people are playing. And Gym Class Basketball VR is a super well-known game out there. It's free, tons of people enjoy it. Sandbox modes, social worlds, the physics engines of it, and now the game has added pay-to-play features, but those are the NBA bundles where you can get the NBA courts and the branded apparel. But if you want to get in, check it out free, you still can, and over 57,000 people say it's 5 stars, so maybe you should. 95% 5-star ratings. People saying this game is amazing, and every time they need to have fun, this is their go-to game. People saying they love the game, they love the skins in the game, and people saying there's a reason that this is one of the highest rated games out there. With 57,000 ratings, that puts it almost up to where Beat Saber's at with ratings, but an even higher score than it or Gorilla Tag. And if you look to the lower reviews to see what people say, it's definitely community issues. A lot of people being toxic in there, people saying the game needs better moderation, people saying they did get banned, so apparently there is some moderation, and some people saying Big Ballers is better. Big Ballers does make it higher on the list for what people are playing right now, although it's got a lot less ratings. Touted as the fastest growing VR sports game, play with up to 12 people. Big Ballers might sound like a basketball game from the title and the comparisons from Gym Class, but Big Ballers has a ton of different kinds of sports in it you can play. Customizable characters and an edge of trying to actually compete online to even be number one. Game hasn't even been out a year yet, and 91% 5-star ratings have people saying it's their new favorite game. People saying it's fun and it's competitive, citing all different kinds of things to do in it: basketball, baseball, American American football, as they specify, fitness, laser tag, blade ball, arcade. So many people citing that it's their favorite game. The same low reviews we basically heard for every other game. Occasional bugs, some lag, and bad-mouthed kids. What can you do? Monkey Do, a game that's been out a while and at first glance kind of looks like a Gorilla Tag clone, but a game that has you flying all around, chasing down coins from each other, trying to escape the alligator that's swimming in the pond down below. Or is it a crocodile? I can never remember. But 5,800 ratings, giving it a 4.5 star rating. The most important review you'll probably find in the review section saying it's so skibbity. People saying it's the best monkey game, obviously, firing shots at Gorilla Tag, but people in the low reviews, same things, bugs, rude kids, and people just saying there's no way anything is ever better than Gorilla Tag, and this can't possibly be. And Yeeps possibly even taking over Gorilla Tag's territory right now. Yeeps has you bouncing around, your hands moving around, but also able to pull the stuffing out of yourself and craft anything you want with different modes, different unlockables, and a game that has not been out very long, but has tons of people playing it. 43,000 ratings with a 5-star rating. People saying it's super fun, it's the best game. People saying if you play it, you're gonna get addicted and join the community of it. People who are making cases for why you need to just get this game. But people citing community issues, citing they got banned, citing that there's bullying. Of course, a game that's free, fun, and this big is gonna have some of that. As with any free game, it's always best if you can go in with friends or people you know, or find a Discord of people that also want to play the game with you. If you like Lethal Company and you like VR with gorillas, Animal Company might be a game for you. Survival and chaos in a multiplayer VR adventure game, a game that also advertises it gets new updates every week, but also that doesn't have to be multiplayer, it can even be single player too. And with that, even though it's barely been out any time at all, a matter of months, it has over 11,000 reviews, giving it a really high 4.8 star rating. People saying it's the best game ever. They love it because they like Lethal Company. People saying it's a 10 out of 10, and people liking how it's a VR horror adventure that's cooperative instead of being pitted against each other all the time. But if you look for the lower reviews, of course, you're going to hear the same things as others. Toxic community members, people talking about the lag, but mostly bringing up really the community being the main issue with this. Not surprising, especially for a free multiplayer game with horror and monkeys. If you have a group of friends though, maybe get into your own server together. So many VR games have tried to make their take on a Rocket League style game, and SkyStrikers is throwing their hat in the ring here. Competitive VR sports similar to soccer, using a Gorilla Tag style locomotion, although people even say that the locomotion is its own and it is very good. This puts you in an arena bouncing around between platforms in the ground trying to knock your ball into the opponent's goal. It already has over 200 ratings, giving it a 4.2 star rating, which is not great, but still decently good for a free soccer style game. People saying it's so awesome, you need to try it out. They love the cosmetics for the soccer. People saying that it does move like Gorilla Tag, but it doesn't feel anything like it, and it is truly unique. And people saying they laugh and live and love all in this game. But people in lower reviews bringing up how it's got bugs. People saying they were a high level and an update wiped that on them. People talking about the community issues that are in there, something you see a lot in free multiplayer games, unfortunately. But if you're looking for a new one with a competitive style, this might be something to check out. NoClip VR is not only one of the very few games on the Quest store that is multiplayer horror and that you can get in to check out for free. NoClip VR is basically a backroom simulator where you can get in with your friends. You're running from entities, navigating the endless back rooms while trying to make it through different puzzles, all escaping with your life. With nearly 5,000 ratings, this has above a 4.5 star rating. People saying the game is so fun. They love all the game modes it comes with. People talking about how terrifying the levels are, how terrifying the emptiness is, but lower reviews citing how unfortunately you do only get the first 3 levels, and if you want to unlock the rest, you have to buy the supporter pack, although many reviews even saying they bought the supporter pack and are happy they did. Whether you're someone who loves the backrooms or you really just want to get in and try some multiplayer horror games with your friends, NoClip VR is definitely one on the list to check out. There's almost no way you have a Quest and don't already know what Gorilla Tag is, but if somehow that's the case, a game that changed the landscape of VR. Free to play, you are a gorilla, you bounce around using your hands for locomotion, all different kinds of game modes, you're trying to tag each other, infection, and the game with the most reviews on the Quest store by far, 130,000, gives it a 4.6 star, and it's extremely hard to find any real reviews, not people just spamming gorillas and emojis and all kinds of crap in the review section. But if you go looking for more of the real ones, people say they do recommend it, although it's really fun to play, enjoyable, it can be a bit toxic. People saying they love the game, but that it's for a very young audience. Other people saying that the report system and the mod team are not always reliable. It's a gigantic game with people all around the world playing it, and a very mixed bag as to what you're going to get when you get in it. If you have not tried it and you want to, I'd suggest find a group of your friends who have Quest and go in with them and play it together. Population 1 is a shooter that's been out for years on Quest, and it went completely free to play a while back. It's basically VR's version of Fortnite, although now there's more than one modes. Traditionally, you drop into a battle royale, you fly into the map, you can climb anything, you can build obstacles and forts. The game's been out for over 4 years and still has a very devout following, people who are new to Quest and people who have been playing for a long time, and with that 15,000 reviews puts us about a 4.3 star. Not as high as you might expect, but people saying it's a fantastic game, it's the best battle royale you can get, and it's so good. But people complaining that as the years have gone on, there's less people in the lobbies, or the people in the lobbies are really, really good, and it's not good at matchmaking because there's not enough new people playing it. People complaining that the game seems unbalanced for pros and noobs. It is a pretty unmatched battle royale shooter in the world of VR, but no, you're either gonna have to put in some serious time to get good enough to keep up with people in the lobbies, or you're gonna want to go in with friends. Big Scary is a newer indie horror virtual reality experience, obviously inspired by games like Gorilla Tag. You and your friends are gonna have to learn to navigate quickly through an underground world, running from monsters and navigating the intense environment also as quickly if you want to escape. Over 6,000 ratings, giving this about a 4.6 rating. People saying that the game is incredibly fun, it's really funny, that they love the puzzles, the jump scares, and people are genuinely shocked at how good the game is when you're in it. Although lower reviews on the game talking about getting banned, whether it was justified or not, and people saying that this game was clearly something made for a younger audience, and that the oldest person they've seen was probably around 12. Like many multiplayer free games, Big Scary could be really fun if you have a group of friends you already get in and like to play games with, or if you're someone who really likes guerrilla-based games, it's something to check out. Bait is a free-to-play fishing game from big-time developer Resolution Games, same one that has made other games like Demeo and Spatial Ops. And this casual fishing game actually added Master's Cove, a place where you can just hang out with friends and go fish together, a social lobby similar to what most of their other games have. There's over 60 different types of fish to catch, different locations, and ultimately multiplayer to hang out with your friends while doing this, and even using your own meta avatar. Over 3,000 people have rated this, giving it just 4 stars. People saying it is fun, they love the multiplayer in it, and it's a really nice game, but some people saying that they're having issues with the game now. The tutorial wasn't working for them, they couldn't find other people in it, or that the fishing wasn't realistic enough for them. The game is pretty old now, over 5 years old, but if it's something that you just want to chill and go hang out with other people in a more casual, less realistic fishing setting, it is one for you. Cards and Tankards is probably the longest standing card game in VR. You hang out in a tavern with friends playing a card game, and although the game has been out for years now, it still gets updates even as recently as a few weeks ago. Over 1,500 people saying this thing is a 4.2 star game. People saying the gameplay is a 10, the graphics are an 8, but the community is a 9. People saying the community is the best reason to play this game. People saying there's real depth to the card game and it's really fun to play. And I know from personally being in this game, the moderators do work really hard to keep the community clean. And so if you go looking at the lower reviews, you see a lot of people talking crap about the moderators, saying they got kicked out for reasons they shouldn't have, people complaining about all the warnings, but then other people saying that over the years it has changed and there's been more of a focus in the game on the in-app purchases. This game has long been known as a great game with a great community though, so it might be something to go check out yourself if you're interested. As you may have realized by now, unfortunately, too many of the free multiplayer horror games that you can find on the Quest Store are guerrilla based, but Scary Baboon is another one with a lot of ratings, nearly 5,000, giving it just above a 4-star rating. This is still an early and experimental horror game that has you using an all too familiar gorilla tag locomotion, running from different types of monsters and entities, and with decently mixed reviews, 68% of those are 5 stars and 12% are 1 star. People saying it's a great game with your friends, people saying they really have fun with it, but others citing glitches around the cosmetics and things you purchase not being able to be used. And although this does have above a 4-star rating, any sort of monkey or gorilla based games do get a lot of spammy 5-star reviews full of just emojis, so keep that in mind if you do decide to check this one out. Gun Raiders is now on its 10th season. This is a free-to-play VR shooter with different game modes, jetpacks, and a pretty well-known gun game on the Quest. Almost 6,000 people now giving it a 4.2 star rating. People saying it's amazing, the gameplay is really good, and people even talking about how the scythe was overpowered and then the developers actually updated it and made the scythe less powerful. But of course, people in the lower reviews saying there's too many kids in there, that mobile players being added found exploits to the game that made it less fun. But the developers responding saying that they've worked to make those changes so that it's balanced between the VR and the mobile players. A game that still gets patches all the time, but keep in mind there is additional in-app purchases, as is common with a lot of free-to-play multiplayer shooters like this. Hyperdash is another free-to-play multiplayer shooter that's been around for years now, but still gets free updates. A game with very fast-paced combat action. You can dash and sprint and even rail grind through the map, now with added offline modes and bots that you can even play on your own. And a game with quite good graphics for a Quest standalone shooter title. And with that, 3,000 people giving it 4.5 stars. People saying it is an absolutely great game, and even warning you not to listen to the 1-star reviews. People saying it's fun and unique. The dashing in it is so cool. But people saying that at this point the community is dying and they don't recommend it, with the developers even responding to that, saying they'd love to hear any specifics they can continue to work on as they still are trying to build this game. But people saying that there are hackers in the game or bots. Ultimately, a game that's been around a while and still getting reviews and updates though. Those of you out there who have played it already, what did you think? VRChat was long known as one of the biggest VR games in the entire world. It's a social lobby with all kinds of different things now to do. People have built rooms where you could literally play Among Us, where you can just chill and listen to lo-fi together, where you can even sleep in the same room as other people. And it's just the ultimate world creation sandbox hangout app that's been out since even before the Quest itself was, but still gets updates, and with 28,000 ratings has actually a very low rating of a 3.7 star. People are saying all kinds of wild things in the review section though, but if you try and look for the real ones, people say it's amazing, you make friends with total strangers and you can do whatever you want in this world. People saying this is the closest thing to the Oasis from Ready Player One you'll find, and people saying that still the PCVR version's better, but standalone works really well in the Quest. If you go to the 1 stars though, people saying that children shouldn't be allowed in there, it can be a risky place for people to be in together, and that there is plenty of toxic people to be found. Definitely use some caution if you go in this game without a guide your first time on where you go. Sometimes horror games on the store are truly terrifying because of scary mechanics and monsters in them that chase you down, and sometimes they're truly scary because they were trying to be a horror game, but they're so bad with glitches, bugs, and issues that they're too scary to try to get through without risking getting motion sickness. Beknight unfortunately may be the latter, although this is a free multiplayer horror game, so it does technically qualify. 111 ratings give this below 4 stars. And if you don't know much about the Metastore, typically anything below 4 stars has a lot of issues. A game that looks like it was inspired by the likes of Granny. This puts you locked in a house with Grandpa and you have to try and get out while he listens to you. Extremely mixed reviews from people saying it was really fun, people saying for them on their Quest it didn't work at all, and others saying the frame drops were so immediate they couldn't get through the game. Although the more recent reviews you look at does seem like they are improving the game, this is definitely one that if you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here looking for free multiplayer horror, you might try it with the idea knowing that it may not work at all for you. Vegas Infinite was once called Poker Stars, and this is a casino gambling simulator, but as they of course say for legal reasons right off the bat, it's not a gambling product and does not provide an opportunity to win real money. If you want the experience of walking into a casino in VR, this is definitely the closest you can get so far. A game that still has events all the time and over many years now has racked up over 28,000 ratings, giving it a lower 3.9 star. People saying this is why they play VR though. People saying it's a great game. People have been playing it for 5 years and it feels just like playing poker in real life, but some people saying that over the years it's really died out. People saying they've lost touch with their players and it's turning into a money grab, and people complaining about how they really try to enforce the 18 and up rule only, but that kids have still been able to buy stuff before getting into the game and then wasting their money in essence. I've played this game a good amount, and if you love casinos and you love that feeling, you will like this. If you don't, you won't. Meta Horizon Worlds is Meta's answer to other social lobby games like VRChat. This was designed by Meta and has slowly spread over the years to more than just the US that it was originally in. All kinds of social things to do, from games to officially licensed rooms like they recently had one from The Office, and even places where you can just go work and hang out together. With nearly 10,000 reviews now, it's got a pretty low score of a 3.6 star. People saying they love it and they found some meaningful friendships, but it still has glitches. People saying that there needs to be an adults only version of it. People saying they watched the NBA game last night in it for free and loved it, but of course people saying it's just got too many bugs, there are too many kids screaming, and people trying it and saying it is just not for them. I know plenty of you out there trying to get me to hang out in it, so for those of you who really enjoy it, what do you enjoy about it? It seems that when it comes to free and parkour, people are really enjoying it, with Grab coming up next here on the list. Grab has grappling, hooks, climbing mechanics, and even double jumping mechanics where you can grab through the air. Not only does it have tons of parkour challenges, but you can actually create and share your own level cool designs with their level editor, and then take your friends in there up to 12 players and play these multiplayer together. Grab's been out a while. It's well known with nearly 10,000 ratings, giving this thing a 5-star rating. People saying it's amazing, and people build really cool things to check out in it. People saying there's tons of different levels of difficulty, so no matter how good you are at the game, you can still have fun. Gets you sweating and moving, and a lot less low reviews on this one, but people saying that if they did decide to support the game and buy the early pack, some people didn't see their coins show up, with the developer saying you need to go back to the store and hit buy again, and they will show up without making you pay. People saying that sometimes they try to save their levels and it didn't work. And as you'll see is a theme with any free multiplayer games, people citing, of course, the community itself that you might meet while you're in there. You won't see a lot of 5-star rated games on this list though, so if you're gonna check out one, Grab might be the one to check out. Blaston is a 1v1 dueling PvP game where different weapons spawn around you at different speeds and powers, and not only are you trying to take down your enemy, but you also have to dodge their bullets that are moving at you. And with a newer mixed reality mode they added, this game is really cool to play with a friend with 2 quests in person, and it has an active community that does tournaments with this game. Over 2,700 ratings, giving it a 4.4-star rating. People saying it's addictive, it's exciting and fun. People saying it's a great game and it keeps you really active as you're moving around dodging the bullets. People saying it's just a masterpiece, but then people complaining how they've worked so hard to become really good in the game and yet noobs can still take them down. People saying it's hard to find other players, and other people complaining there just hasn't been enough new over the years. But Blaston is a game we often demo on our tours with VR Zone, and people love it and even come back for the tournaments at the end of the events. X8 is known as the Valorant of VR, and this is a hero shooter that's free to play with different heroes that all have different abilities, turrets, tripwires, and a game that hasn't been out at least in full release as long as the others, but with 3,000 ratings has 4.8 stars. People saying it's 100% must play, it's amazing, and it's just wow. But people complaining that the experienced players in the lobbies will just destroy you. It enables bullying because the seasoned players are too good, and people citing issues they'd like to see fixed, and the developer even responding in the comments to those. It's a game that's come a long way since it first came out in beta when I tried it, and it's still getting updates though. If you have a phobia of dolls like I do, Crawlspace might be a little much for you. A game in the horror genre where you take an odd job and have to survive so many nights of doing it. You have to try and get through the crawl spaces and the nooks and crannies of this home and collect and return each missing doll over 5 nights. The game warns you right in the description it does include jump scares, but with that, over 500 people have given this thing a 4.5-star rating. People saying it's the scariest game they've played all year, scariest game they've ever played due to the claustrophobia and the darkness. A lot of the lower reviews actually saying the game is too scary. People couldn't play this game because of the jump scares, or some people saying they'd play it if there was multiplayer. As we know, that often makes these games less scary. Crawlspace is definitely one to check out, and if you like it, there's actually another one. If Crawlspace 1 wasn't scary enough, you can go into Crawlspace 2. This time you need to fix a ventilation system in a house. You have 5 nights to solve all the puzzles and fix all the fans, using the game's unique VR crawling to get through it. Less popular and known, over 100 people giving this thing a 4.4 rating. People saying they need to have Crawlspace 3 now. People saying it's too scary to even get through the first night. But people complaining that they feel like the crawling is more like gorilla tag movement in the second one. People sad that they can't kiss the monster, and people reporting some glitches and bugs with the actual crawling. Try out 1, and if you can't get enough, maybe come back for number 2. If you've always wanted to be Spider-Man and you've already tried Web Guy, the original to this, Untangled is a newer version, new mechanics. You fly all around a city, different stunts you can do, spin moves and everything. Great if you have your VR legs and you can handle this, but if not, you could get yourself really sick. Surprisingly, although Web Guy was really popular, Untangled has a pretty low score, 3.7, almost 600 people rating it that way. People saying it's amazing with friends, it's an insane game, they love it, it's the best Spider-Man experience you're gonna get on Quest. But people saying there's no way to turn off the chat, saying that a new update messed it up, and people bringing up the bugs that you're gonna get into, especially in a fast-paced game that's rendering this much city. Hopefully they'll continue to update and bring us back though, because there is a pretty big community that really liked Web Guy. We already talked about the newer version, but Web Guy is where Untangled got its roots, so if you want to go check out the earlier one, 673 ratings given this thing, only about a 3.25 star though. People saying they enjoyed swinging around the city, people saying it's a good game, but people comparing it to Gorilla Tag and saying it sucks, or saying that they just couldn't get in with their friends. It'll be in the comments and description if you're really interested in checking this one out too and seeing their early roots, but Untangled definitely looks like the way to go. Gravity League is a free-to-play competitive multiplayer game that feels kind of like you're in a 3D version of Pong, but using your physical body to smack a ball back and forth at your opponents. A game that over 350 ratings give about a 4.3 stars, with lots of people giving it 5-star reviews saying it's got a great community, it's a really fun game. People saying it's a good workout and gets you exercising, but a lot of the lower reviews citing the issues of how if you want to be able to set up custom matches with the friends you want to play with, it is stuck behind a paywall with different campaign packs that will cost you money whether you want to solo the game, the party pack that'll actually let you play with your friends, or bundle them both for $15. You can at least get in, feel out the game, and play it and see what you like, but then you'll have to decide if you really want to play it or play with friends. It will cost you some money, unfortunately. If you're not someone who does well with being alone in a house on a dark night with some creep peering in the windows, this game is probably not for you. The Obsessive Shadow puts you in a home with just a flashlight trying to move through the home and seeing a creepy entity keep showing up outside the windows to watch you. With them still adding extra updates to the game even as recently as this month, not a lot of people know about this game. Just 40 ratings giving it a 4.5 star. People saying it is really scary, the graphics are good, they just want multiplayer mode. People saying they want to see a full release because it's so good, and the only low written reviews it has citing still some bugs, but when I got into this one and wandered around, it was extremely tense and really creepy. Freeland is a truly ambitious idea, a game that is really trying to bring Ready Player One's Oasis to the world, allowing you to do anything and everything in this game. It's a VR galactic online adventure with expansive worlds, tons of possibilities, with skills, magic, weaponry, multiple planets, open worlds. But with all that ambition comes a very early game and a rough score of 3.9 stars. People saying it's a really cool game. Leveling up and getting to ride your own dragon is a thrill, but people saying it's not the VR MMORPG they were expecting. People saying that it just doesn't look like a finished product, that the graphics are really rough. People saying they couldn't even get in and play it. I'd love to know if you did try it out or if you were excited about it. How are you feeling about it current state? Let me know in the comments. In the world of sandbox and hangout games, Blobtown is a new one to pop up, a place where you can craft anything easily with blobs, make avatars out of them, and hang out with your friends. Another game that, although it's pretty new, it's got a rougher rating. 150 people agree this is about a 3.9 star game. People saying it's one of their new favorite games. They love being able to build whatever they want. People saying that it is a nice change of pace because everyone's polite and kind inside the game. People bring up this is truly a social game, and without other people in it, you would get bored in an instant. But a lot of the lower reviews bringing up that they didn't think the texture looked good, they got stuck on loading screens and couldn't get in, or they weren't able to click the buttons inside the game to get them further. It is considered early access, and it looks like something that's truly made for people who want to be creative with unlimited possibility, but something that either you're going to have to be very creative or very social, or you're going to get bored in. No Hope the Escape drops you into a creepy escape room style game with an unsettling backstory that you slowly uncover as you learn about the New Hope orphanage that you grew up in. Surprisingly immersive gameplay for a relatively unknown game. Only 12 people have given this thing a 4.3 star rating, saying they just want more content. It's really amazing. People saying the spookiness factor is just really dialed in, and nearly all the written reviews it has are praising this game. A small indie title that people don't really know about, but something that might be worth checking out if you have a little extra time. If you want even more Backrooms, experience the original Ducks Backrooms VR. It touts itself as a wacky version of the Backrooms, where the developer even says they used Gorilla Tag locomotion because they were too lazy to write their own locomotion. This is a game that's been out for quite a long time now and has nearly 500 ratings, giving it a 4.2. People saying that they liked the game, but they came back for multiplayer later, it still wasn't there. Multiple people asking for multiplayer on a game with its development is probably long beyond stopped. People saying in the lower reviews, even J-Man Curly made a video trying out the multiplayer mode, said it was supposed to be coming years ago. So if you're looking for some solo Backrooms, this one could be here for you. But it sounds like multiplayer is in the closet somewhere with Half-Life 3. Wadality is a VR multiplayer shooter with an emphasis on a more vertical style of gameplay, and even advertises how the hand swing locomotion in the game drastically reduces motion sickness in players. Another one of the few on this list with a 5-star rating with over 2,400 ratings. 89% of those are 5 stars. People saying they love this game and they play it every day. People saying it's like you took Gorilla Tag and mixed it with a shooter, but you can fly, and people saying they really like the weapon choices. But some people jumping in and giving it 1-star reviews, saying it's trash, with some very edgy comments in their reviews, so bad that the developer literally just responded the word bruh. People complaining about campers, some people giving it a good review saying very good game, still giving it 1 star, and other people bringing up issues with the servers and not being able to get into games. Another one that does have 5 stars, so take that how you will. As more games that were shooters and were free come out of beta and start to get prices, AIM XR is one that is still free, a 5v5 fast-paced multiplayer shooter. You can also play it offline against bots, and although people are still saying this game is considered an alpha, it has been out for about 3 years now. People saying it's very promising, it's very good. People even saying that it's like Pavlov was when it was in beta. Not quite as good graphics though, but it's basically just Pavlov. But people in the lower reviews citing issues with bugs and their hands bugging out, people talking about the moderators, and people, of course, citing the community. If you have friends who all have quests and they want to just download this game together and all go in and play it together, you're probably gonna have a blast. But if you walk in alone into a lobby full of people that no one else is already friends with, you never know what you're gonna get. DigiGods Build and Battle is free to play in early access and is pretty well known already. A physics-based sandbox environment with shooting, parkour, and basically any kind of gameplay you want to even make and design yourself. There's got a drag and drop system in it and really gives you the ability to design what you want, whether it's a puzzle, some sort of shooter game, board games, and over 4,200 people giving this thing a 5-star rating already. 90% 5-star ratings. People say it's amazing. People comparing it to Yeeps, which you might hear about later in the video. People saying it deserves to be an official game. People even talking about the different kinds of items you can do in the game and how the multiplayer just makes it so much better. But people in the lower reviews bringing up how the fact that there is guns, kind of like GTA, if you get in, there's other people in there, they're just gonna try and shoot you. Other people saying the game doesn't give you enough of a tutorial in it or that it still has bugs. This one is in early access with no price though, so if you want to try it out, now might be the time. Frenzies is available free in early access right now, a game that kind of looks like a frantic Squid Game in VR. This is a VR PvP first-person shooter from big developers like Endreams and Nearlight who made Fract and Synapse, a game with random maps, round types, and an option to go wishlist the final game when it comes out of early access if you like what you see. Although with the game coming out very recently, it's only got a 3.9 rating with 29 ratings, 49% 5-star and 14% 1-star. People citing some early development issues saying that the guns in the gameplay do feel really good, but they couldn't even turn with their body. Other people citing that, and it sounds like the developer is working on it. That's why this is in early access, so they can get this feedback. But people saying positive things. It got them back into VR. They've been having a lot of fun with it. People saying it's a good game, but there's just not enough people playing it right now. That's surprising with it being free, but it has only been out for a matter of days, so maybe if you like what you see here and you get it, maybe that community will build up and they can turn this into the game we want it to be. SHOOTOUT is another newer addition to the meta store, totally free. A VR multiplayer shooter that looks like it plays a little bit like the old Unreal Tournament. All different kinds of customizations you can add to your gun to change it out, and they say there's over 1,000 different unique combinations and abilities by the way you build your loadout. You can play the game in PvE mode or jump into 3v3 PvP games, and in the short time the game's been out, it has racked up over 700 reviews, giving it a bit lower of a 4-star rating. People saying it's a cool concept, but it could do with more options like shotguns and sniper rifles. People saying the customizations are incredible. People saying it was great, but they want to see a melee option. Other people saying it's the best first-person shooter in VR. But people in the low reports saying that there are toxic community members, as you're going to see basically with every free VR game that's big, especially shooters. People saying that the newer updates are ruining the heart of the game, or people citing issues where they just couldn't get past certain screens in the game. Usually for me on the meta store, if it's below a 4.3, that's kind of time to start thinking it's iffy. But if this one looks super appealing to you, it's something you could check out, and who knows, maybe it'll be a 5-star game for you. Ultimechs is a game from Resolution Games, the same developers that are making Spatial Ops and made Demio, really popular developer. And Ultimechs puts you in a giant mech playing a game also similar to Rocket League, 2v2 competitive action where you're trying to score goals against your enemies, or you're trying to score goals against the other team. And a game that's been out for a long time but lesser known, a 4.2-star rating with over 700 ratings. People saying it's fun, addictive, competitive, and it's free. People saying they love it. People Uno reversing in the reviews by saying that's bad, but then also saying that it's actually really good. And other people saying it obviously has the polished game mechanics of a big developer, but people saying the big problem at this point, the game's been around a long time and there's just no one in playing it anymore. You get in and you can't get a match to load. A game that it's free, and if you have a couple friends, though, download it and play it together. But know that if you get it and you're just playing on your own, you might have a really hard time getting a real match. Whether your top fears are darkness, claustrophobia, evil monsters, or arachnophobia, Tunnels will force you to face all of them. This game drops you into a dark world of caves that you have to crawl through, and is so immersive with the movement that I felt terrified I was going to get stuck in some of the tunnels as I was moving through. Add that you hear creepy scratching around you in the darkness and things you need to dodge. This game can be truly terrifying as it plays on a lot of the most common phobias. If it's too scary alone, they have played around with multiplayer updates for you to check out, and nearly 100 people agreeing that this is a 4.5-star game. People saying it's an amazing story, they can't wait to see the full release. People saying they love it right now at $0, and the way that the game plays and looks are both really good. The developer responding though, saying that it should be coming out around October 24 with a full release, so this might be your last chance to get in and try this game free. free. Rec Room is a social VR game that was called Roblox for VR long before Roblox came to VR. A game with all kinds of mini games in it, but also you can create your own games, you can even make money off your creations, and you can just hang out and meet all kinds of people for better or worse. With that, 32,000 people giving this a 4.2 star rating, which is actually a pretty good rating for a free social type game, but people saying it's great, it's so fun, it's amazing, and other people of course citing that there's toxicity, that there's glitches, that it's overrated by all the people talking about it. Rec Room is a game that I played a lot in my early days of VR and went in with my other friends and played together, and there's really fun times to be had in it, but the most important thing is that you go in with your own community or you find a good community inside of the game. If you've been hoping to play Slenderman in VR, you may have to settle for Cat. Puts you in a creepy forest environment with only a flashlight to help you see ahead of you, but you have to get through the forest, find your 6 items, and then banish the cat back into the box. And like most games in this genre, the more of the items you find, the faster the cat gets. Nearly 150 people giving this thing a 4.6 star rating. People saying it's so good and creepy. People saying very creepy things about the cat. People saying the game is too scary. And literally every written 1-star review is just saying that the game is too scary. Let me know in the comments if you found this one too scary to even try. Lab Monkey is probably one of the most popular and biggest games we'll talk about today. Lab Monkey has barely been out a month. You're a monkey trapped in a horror facility trying to escape, and in just a month's time has over 3,200 ratings, giving this thing a 4.8 star rating. People saying the game is great, they love it, it's really thrilling, but people complaining about the pay-to-play model the game uses, people complaining that mods and updates are breaking the game, and people complaining that you could mod it for free before and now you have to pay. If you're into horror and free games, and especially monkey-based ones, you probably already know about this game, so let people know in the comments what you think. Is it still worth trying at this point? Lost and Found Nightmares is an extremely hard game to find, because if you search Lost and Found Quest, you just find people saying where they found someone's quest, but it was actually suggested by you out there. This is another horror type gorilla tag game. It's new, and with over 200 ratings, it does have a 4.5 star rating. People saying it is a really good gorilla tag horror game. The jump scares are unique. People saying that one of the updates made it the best game. People talking about how they got killed in the game and it was fun, but then in the low reviews, people saying toxic community, they got banned, the servers aren't connecting, the typical stuff you're gonna see. Unless you're truly a fan of gorilla tag based horror games, this might be one for you to skip, but the link will be there for you if you are interested in what you're seeing. Another mixed reality game, Hell Horde Survival, is in early access. You can try it free. A portal erupts in your room, bringing undead monsters in after you. Different monsters, weapons, upgrade, and even boss fights, all in this shooter survival game. Although probably one of the lowest rated on our list today. 70 people have said this thing is only worth 3.6 stars. Some people though say it's an awesome game with a 2-player co-op. It's really fun. Other people saying it's just boring. It's just monsters coming out of a portal in front of you. They don't look great. They all move the same. The guns aren't accurate. People complaining early about having to pay money to revive, and now the developers responding that they've updated and fixed that issue. VRFS is a football, aka soccer simulator, as they want to differentiate so you don't think this is American football. A soccer game that advertised that its physics are unmatched in the game. A game that also does a lot to make it free and also enjoyable. They advertise that there's no pay to win, it's only your skills. It's free for all, so you can go in any part of the game completely free, and one that when we've covered it before, people have been very excited to go try it. 3,000 ratings, giving it a 4.4 star rating. People saying it's an unbeatable game. It's really Sigma. People saying they could play the game for days, and lower reviews citing that the community can be toxic and even trash, that there is still glitches, but as the developer reminded in the notes, it's still in development. There's even an update as recently as 9 days ago. But what do you think? That's 50 free games out there, tons for you to try. What did you add to your list today? Which ones do you recommend? Let people know down in the comments so they can see that. And then we'll know any of them that get the most upvotes means they're definitely worth playing. But thank you once again for being here with me, and I will see you in another reality.